Welcome to a special World Championship edition of the Morning Swim Show. I'm Peter Busch in the Swimming World Studios. After every final session this week, we will be joined by Swimming World Magazine senior writer John Lohn. He is covering the meet from Shanghai. Day one is in the books, and there is plenty to talk about, including the poor performance of the American men. Let's bring in John Lohn right now on Skype from Shanghai. John, good evening to you from Shanghai. How are you?
How are you, Peter? Early in the morning for you guys, huh?
Yeah, well, we're happy to bring you this coverage. This is a great week for swimming, and let's start with that men's 4x100 freestyle relay. I tell you, I can't remember in a long, long time in a major meet such a poor day for the American men.
Didn't really go well, did it? Behind right from the get-go on that relay. I mean, Phelps did come through with a 48 flat leadoff, but when you're half second behind and then your second and third legs don't get the job done, doesn't really matter what Nathan Adrian did on the end.
Why was Ryan Lochte, A, not on the relay, and B, is this a bad sign for his meet in general, or should we not take what happened with his morning split and expand it out to the entire meet?
Well, I think Garrett Weber-Gale earned that night swim. He went 48-49 leading off the morning, so you figure off of a relay start he was going to be in the 47s. Ryan wasn't in that place, so I think that's why they went with Garrett, and rightfully so. I don't think it's going to be a real sign for Ryan. He's never been a 100 freestyler. Just things at night didn't go the way they should have for Garrett, and then Jason Lezak didn't have the typical relay leg that we're used to seeing from him. Adds up to a bronze medal.
Not just a bronze medal, but really not even close to Australia, who ran away with this. France was solid as well, even when you consider Elaine Bernard went 48-7. So you put those things together, and it's not just like, hey, the Americans had a so-so night, next year they'll get them. I mean, I think there's real reason to be concerned with the Americans in that relay after tonight's race.
Yeah, there's work to do. They're a second behind the Australians. That's a young group of Aussies on that relay. You factor in the fact that Ian Thorpe might be part of that relay. Now, he's going to have his work cut out just to crack that squad. But, yeah, the U.S. has some real catching up to do. In terms of Elaine Bernard, if he does what he did in prelims, they win the relay. I mean, the guy he just does not get the job done when he has to. This is twice now in the past, 3 years?
All right, well, it should be interesting to see what the American men do with the other relays. On the flip side, the American women had a very nice 4x100 freestyle relay, especially when you talk about Missy Franklin. Holy cow, welcome to the big show.
Everybody's been saying here that she's been infectious at training camp, getting ready for this meet, and if the American women can't be buoyed off of what she did tonight, look, they got silver, and the Netherlands came rallying back to get them. But that was a heck of an effort. That's got to be a huge confidence boost for the American women.
I think there's real reason to be optimistic about that relay going forward because most of those girls, Vollmer is obviously on her game right now. The other girls didn't necessarily have great swims. Missy's presumably only going to get better. The Dutch, it's the same four women who were on the Olympic relay and the Rome World Championship relay. So you would presume that while they're experienced, they're not necessarily up and coming. Inga Decker, 54.9, I guess there's two ways to look at that. Either she's severely on the decline, or if she goes faster like she has in the past, that relay is scary good.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, that these two relays together that's kind of what we'll see next year in London, I would think, these guys going against one another again. But there isn't a lot of wiggle room for the Netherlands, and I think there still is for the United States. And you said Dana Vollmer's on her game. Wow, talk about a great semifinal swim in the 100 butterfly there. She's putting herself in position to have a terrific week here.
At 56.47, she's less than a half second off that world record. A world record, frankly, most of us did not expect to be touched at this meet.
Nope.
What do you think now?
Well, not only was it 56.47 for an American record, I think that's the textile best, taking down Inga de Brown's record. When you're taking an inky mark off the books, and I think that was from the 2000 Sydney Olympics, that's pretty big time stuff. I don't think she can get much faster, but maybe she'll shock us tomorrow and go 56 lower. But you got to love where she's at right now. She might be the most dominant American woman right now.
What does she look like just on deck? I mean, she obviously is swimming with great confidence, but does she look different? Does she look more confident than you've ever seen her?
There was nothing, Peter, that stood out that you said, oh, there's a change in Dana at all. She just kind of went about her business today and never slowed down and pulled away from the field as she was closing down that last 50. Honestly, no, there wasn't anything that you can really pinpoint. She's just better.
All right, men's 400 free, heck of a swim by Tae-Hwan Park. He even split it. I mean, exactly, the exact same split on the first 200 as the second 200. That's a tough thing to do in a 400.
Gutsy swim, and he barely slipped. I shouldn't say barely slipped in, but he played with a little bit of fire in the morning. And he did mention after the race he really liked the fact that he was in lane 1 there and could kind of do his own thing, that outside smoke that everybody loves to talk about, but also to not have anybody next to him in the adjacent lane. There was an open lane for him. He kind of went out and left everybody to wonder, where he is, and then he cracked a really good 50 from the 300 to the 350 to put the thing away.
A couple other notes from the men's 400. Sun Yang, 2 seconds slower almost than he was at the Chinese Nationals. So had he gone that time, he wins this event. Paul Biederman, can we say he's just a suit swimmer?
I mean, you take a bronze medal on the world stage. Yeah, he was nowhere near what he did in the suit, and obviously that helped him probably more than some people, but I think some credit is due for him getting on the medal stand there.
Peter Vanderkay, 344. Really nice swim, but not good enough to medal. The American men, again, they got some gaps to close in a lot of events, and this just goes to show. I mean, when you've got a guy going 344, but it's not even getting you on the medal stand, I mean, the world's getting faster, but the American men don't seem to be keeping up in some events.
Yeah, I see Peter's swim as a real positive because he had been under the radar for a while. He'd been off the radar, really, and we didn't know what was going to come of him after the switch to Gator Swim Club from Club Wolverine. So even though he didn't medal, I'll take it as a positive for him. Conversely, just like you said, though, Peter, there's an issue, though, because it's a very, very good swim for him, and it doesn't get the job done, nor is it even in the ballpark when you're playing with Tae-Hwan Park and Sun Yang.
I just wonder if we've relied so heavily, if the Americans have relied so heavily on Phelps and Lochte to pad their medal count, so to speak. And when those guys, when it's either not a great day for them or, the relay doesn't win, if we just haven't realized how thin some of the other spots of the American men's roster is.
And you make a good point there, because if you add up Phelps taking 7, 8 medals at a meet, Lochte wins 6 at the Pan Pacs, yeah, that does pad the medal count in a hurry. There are some holes, and you've nailed that, and I'm sure we're going to discuss more of that as we chat going forward this week. If you look at the breaststroke again, Mark Angloff with a 1:00.1, but that's kind of where he is in textile suits. Alexandrov doesn't even get out of the prelims. Terrible. He was 1:01 mid. So Charlie Houchin, 400 free. This American men's team has some serious work ahead.
All right, you brought up the 100 breast, so I'll go there next. With everything that Norway's going through right now, there's a soft spot in everybody's heart for that country. And Alexander Deleoen, I mean, I don't know if he knows anybody involved in those tragedies, but he's still got to be thinking about that and swimming with a heavy heart. He looks pretty good right now. 59.3, clearly the best breaststroker in the water so far. Kitajima, I think it's going to be a nice race, but I think Deleoen's the guy to beat.
Yeah, this is kind of how it unfolded in the Beijing Olympics. Kitajima then gets him, obviously, in the final. But Kitajima didn't look great coming into the wall tonight. So maybe this is Deleoen's opportunity. He, after prelims this morning, was asked about the situation in Norway and got very emotional and broke down a little bit, and rightfully so. Now, he didn't know anybody specifically, but he's feeling a very heavy heart for his homeland. And this would be a tremendous story if he could walk away with a gold medal tomorrow, and that's very much in the cards.
Yeah, I agree. Women's 200 IM. Looks like it's probably going to be the race of the night tomorrow. What do you think?
Should be a great one between Ariana Kukors and Stephanie Rice. They both opened it up a little bit more tonight. Stephanie Rice especially, I think she had a much bigger drop than Ariana. I don't know which way to go on this one. It could be a blanket finish, but I think they have to be your gold, silver. In which order, who knows?
I disagree with you. I'm looking at this girl who's qualified third. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I'm sure we're going to realize it soon. Yishi Wen. Looks like she's 14 or 15 years old, going 210 flat in her homeland. I'm not only thinking that this girl wins tomorrow, I'm thinking this girl's next year the girl to beat with this kind of upcoming speed.
And that could be. You know what the neat thing is, Peter? The crowd here, first of all, it was packed for prelims this morning. It was jam-packed tonight. They go nuts when the Chinese swimmers are announced. I mean, it really, the place does thunder. It reminded me a lot of the way the water cube was bouncing when Lu Jige and Zhu Liang were 1-2 in the 200 butterfly women's in '08. But she has to be able to feed off that crowd tomorrow night.
All right, so in case this is the first time, again, people are hearing her name, how do you pronounce it again?
I believe it's Yishi Wen.
I guarantee she's going to be a stud. And her back half was incredible. I mean, it looked like at the 100, she was probably 2 body lengths behind and then nearly closes the gap at the end.
Yeah, we're in for, I'm wondering how low they can get tomorrow, but maybe, do we have 3 women under 209? It's potential.
All right, men's 50 fly. I guess Cesar Cielo is not only happy to be swimming there, he's definitely brought his A game. I mean, if this guy's swimming this fast in the 50 fly, I can't wait to see his 50 free.
Yeah, and I think he's been 22.9 this year, so he's actually not as fast as he's been earlier. He's tired of answering the questions, and obviously he got peppered today about, how are you focusing, how is everything behind you with this situation in terms of his court for arbitration of sport hearing on the doping test that he was positive for. But he's done a really nice job of clearly focusing on his racing, and that's what he needs to do. And that had to be a question mark coming in, but he's answered that call.
Good to see Jeff Hugel swimming fast. I mean, he has for a couple years now, but this guy could be a world champion tomorrow again. What an amazing comeback story.
Skippy's got that shot tomorrow, and I know Jeff Cummings is a big Skippy fan, and I'm sure he'll be pulling for him. Hey, he's within 1/10 of a second. Anything can happen in that final, but he's proving that age doesn't matter.
All right, women's 400 free, final individual event of today. Federica Pellegrini, clearly the class in this field. A good 2 seconds clear of anybody else. I mean, is there any doubt right now that she's the superstar middle distance freestyler for the women?
No, and I think it'll be awfully tough to knock her off in the 200. I would have to look at the sheets, but I think she may have even split 159 on the back end of that. I think she might have been 202, 159, something in those lines. Now, I may have that mistaken. I don't have the splits right in front of me, but she was very impressive.
All right, for all the positive signs for the American women tonight with the relay, Missy Franklin, Dana Vollmer's 100 fly, 200 IM, not too bad. The 400 free is another sign of disappointment. Another clear indication that the American women are thin in some areas too, and distance freestyle is right there at the top.
Yeah, Katie Hoff tonight was 3 seconds off of the time she swam last year at Pan Pacs. And even if she swims that Pan Pacs time again, that doesn't get her anything better than, I think, 6th. Chloe Sutton lost a lot of time on her turns this morning to get 9th, so she doesn't even make the final. Yeah, we're nowhere in that event. You're looking at a 7-second difference right now between the champion and the top American finisher.
Well, John, rest up. It's going to be an exciting week. Can't wait to talk to you tomorrow, buddy. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, that's John Lohn joining us from Shanghai. That is it for today's show. Thank you for watching us, and be sure to tune in all week for our World Championship coverage here of the Morning Swim Show. I'm Peter Busch. Thanks for watching.